Hello, reporter room investigators. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist. Today, we're going to be talking about the Sebastian Rogers case. Is this another Summer Wells 2.0? Is this case another Summer Wells 2.0? Come on in. Come on in. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. So, we are going to be digging into a bunch of different stuff on this case. So, I'm Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist. My job is to investigate crime scenes, potential suspects, and evidence, and share with you how to do the same thing. Everything I'm sharing is my opinion, and opinions are not facts. Please don't send any negativity to anyone. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and I don't mean that I'm here to entertain you. This is a legal disclaimer that I have to say. Please subscribe. My analytics show me that 50% of you guys that are watching aren't subscribed. Help a woman out. Support women on YouTube. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you to our channel members. They're the ones with the blue, red, and green check marks, and all of our mods and all of our subscribers. Okay, so today we're going to revisit a little bit about the Summer Wells case. We have some similarities and some differences. We're also going to review the Nancy Grace, Chris and Katie Proudfoot interview, adding some new information that we've gathered since March. We're going to discuss the Sebastian Rogers prayer vigil where Seth and Chris Proudfoot decided to join forces, and the statement that by Katie Proudfoot that she believes that someone has Sebastian, and the real reason, in my opinion, that Seth Rogers had a meltdown yesterday, Sunday, April 21st, and told everyone off. So many of you have seen the images of Seth Rogers discussing or having some kind of a discussion with Chris Proudfoot at the prayer vigil, and then Seth Rogers went on, or should I say went off. Let me move myself out of the way. Come on in, guys. Please share this on your socials. Give this video a thumbs up. Help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Let me just say hello to Njaz and Leo and Kathy. Njaz, this is Njaz. She's one of our head mods. This is Sixth Sense Milia. She's another one of our head mods. After I do this live stream, I'm going to be doing a Brian Kohlberger live stream if you want to stay with me. Jane J is another one of our head mods. And then all the ones that you see with wrenches are all our moderators. So welcome everyone. And if you see the check marks, that means that they are a channel member. Let me move myself out of the way. You guys know I like to get started, so let's do this.
Sebastian, he is...
I'd like to say to whoever has my children that they please.
We just hope that he...
functioning autistic.
Happy and alive.
Wherever you are, just know that we are not going to stop.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
Hello, Reporter Room investigators. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me just catch you guys up a little bit. Let me put a picture of our little man up here. So Seth Rogers, they had a prayer vigil on Saturday. I put it into my group on Facebook. If you guys didn't get to see it, it's posted in there. It's pinned to the top. So I don't know what went on between Seth and Chris Proudfoot, but we saw images of Chris Proudfoot and Seth talking to each other. And then he announced that he was going to be joining forces with Katie. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm just really shocked because a lot of people have put a lot of time and energy into this. So they were discussing something. We don't know what they were talking about. Now, I don't know if he just didn't know what he was going to say, but he did come out later. Seth Rogers did and retract it. But anyway, let's watch together. Crimes, potential suspects, and criminals, and teach you how to do the same thing. Everything I'm sharing is my opinion, and opinions are not facts. Please subscribe, smash that like button, and leave me a comment about all of this drama in the comment section below. So today we're going to be talking about Seth Rogers and his latest meltdown. Now, I don't know what to say about this because Seth Rogers did have a meltdown on Sunday, April 21st. He told everyone to F off.
Me and Chris are putting our differences aside. It's not about our egos. It's about finding Sebastian. Me, Chris, and Katie will begin working together. And if everybody else could just off and put your egos aside, help us find our son. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is the goal of this shit.
Many of you have seen the images of Seth Rogers and Chris Proudfoot having some type of discussion at the prayer vigil that was held on Saturday. Now, Seth had a total meltdown on Sunday, the day after that. Now, I don't know what's going on and why he decided to tell all of us to F off, but he did come out later and retract what he said. As of right now, he's supposed to be joining forces with Katie and Chris Proudfoot because he, I thought maybe he just needed someone who could relate to what he was going through. Maybe they could come together and work to find Sebastian. But after a few hours of announcing that he was going to be coming together with Katie and Chris Proudfoot, Seth sat on another YouTuber's channel, and this YouTuber was telling Katie that she needs to come forward and unburden herself. So I don't know how this is going to ingratiate Seth Rogers into the lives of Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Now, Seth sat on that channel and he didn't, with his arms crossed, and didn't say anything to defend Katie. So I don't know what to think. Is Seth really going to unite with Chris and Katie Proudfoot? Because I don't think that sitting there while another YouTuber says Katie needs to, quote, unburden herself, end quote, is really going to ingratiate Seth into Katie and Chris Proudfoot's inner circle.
Functioning autistic.
So tell me where you're from. And come on in. Please share this on your socials. DM says, I'm baffled by literally seeing everything in Sebastian's case. I feel like Seth is a broken man in a weak moment in front of a microphone. I'm glad they're working together. Long overdue, in my opinion. So yeah, I had a very similar take. But I do see some similarities between Summer Wells and the Sebastian Rogers case, which I'm going to talk about. Olwen says, I'd say Seth is joining Chris so that he can keep tabs on Chris and Katie. I would agree with you, Olwen. The only thing that I thought was really weird was that he sat on another YouTuber's channel, and then he sat there while this other YouTuber said publicly that Katie needs to unburden herself. In other words, like pushing all the blame onto Katie. And he did this after he said he was going to be working with Chris and Katie Proudfoot. So I don't know, you guys. What do you think? Come in and tell me what your opinions are on all this, because I think it's very, very bizarre that if he was going to keep tabs on them, then he wasn't very sly about it. And maybe he's just not a sly guy. He just maybe everything, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. But this case does have similarities, in my opinion, to the Summer Wells. So Summer Wells also disappeared from Tennessee. She disappeared around 3 hours away, maybe 3.5, depending on the traffic, from where Sebastian disappeared. She also had a father who was making the rounds on YouTube. She also disappeared from inside her own home without a trace, and she was last seen by her mother also, just like Seth Rogers was, Candace Bly. So I think there are some similarities, and TBI was also taking the lead on that case. So I'm wondering, are we getting another Summer Wells 2.0, or is it, are we going to be able to have a resolution on this? Yeah, come on in, tell me where you're from, bring your opinions, and just, we don't all have to agree, just share them respectfully. Rachel says, Seth said on Pascal's show about a week ago that Chris told him that if he knew what Sebastian did, he wouldn't be looking for Sebastian. Now he wants to work with them. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. That's really surprising. Welcome, Leo. Sweetie Pie 30 says, I feel Chris had something to do with that video Seth did. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Hey, Sonia. So Mama Bear's in here. Leslie says, I think Seth is playing the Proudfoots to keep an eye on them. The only thing is, if you were going to do that, why would you go onto another YouTuber's channel and sit there while they go after Katie and then not say anything? That's the only thing that I thought, if he's doing it, he's not being particularly sly about it, right? So I have multiple packages to share with you. That was just like the first little interesting thing that I thought. DM says someone claimed to have Sebastian and it was a hoax, and I think he lost it. I agree. I think he was keeping close to the Proudfoots. Yeah, and I think that may have been what led. There was a couple things that I thought may have led up to this kind of what I would say is a meltdown. First of all, his son is missing, but second of all, we did have the hoax where somebody claimed to have had Sebastian. So on some level, even though a lot of us thought it was a hoax, I didn't present it on my channel because I thought for sure it was a hoax. He, may have gotten his hopes up. He may have gotten his hopes up on finding his son, and then, his hopes were dashed. And then he was at the prayer vigil, I attended virtually. I couldn't attend in person, but I feel like maybe, and it was very emotional. Maybe he felt very emotional. I don't know what Chris Proudfoot was saying to him, but he was whispering in his ear. Were they, on good terms? Were they not on good terms? Was Chris Proudfoot gaslighting him a little bit? I don't know. I'm not saying he was or wasn't. I just don't know. But I do think it's very, very interesting that he just kind of lost it. And then he went on to another YouTuber channel and then, kind of did the apology tour. So yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, Njaz. Welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. Sergeant thinks that Seth is being blackmailed by CJ. Who's CJ? I don't know who that is. Chris Tincher says, I couldn't join in with Chris and Katie knowing how they treated Sebastian. I'm just wondering if Sebastian had anybody that he felt like he could turn to. Did he have anyone that he felt like he could turn to? Regina says, I agree. Cheryl says, Katie Proudfoot is the one knowing. Yeah, she was the last one to see him, right? She was the last one. So I want to dig back into one of the earlier interviews that the Proudfoots did. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packages on top of this video that I made for you guys. So come on in. Leo says they probably all have dirt on each other. Yeah, and I heard now I don't know how I heard that Katie Proudfoot got together with Seth when she was 15 and he was 21. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. Thank you, Mama Bear. Please like, share, leave a comment. And let's dig into this whole thing. So Seth is desperate to find Sebastian and is probably close to a breakdown. Yeah, I think you're right. I do. Six Cents Amelia says, having witnessed what Brandy and Tyler Vaughn and the family went through, I can understand Seth's attitude and frustration. Yeah. And at the same time, all of this is happening. He hired 2 private investigators. They're getting jammed up on YouTube. They're getting a lot of drama on YouTube over this whole thing. And I also think, they had to go out and show their credentials today to show that they were capable of doing this job, which I think, gosh, where are we if this is where we're at? I think everybody, and I've seen some people on Facebook going, we don't want TikTokers talking about the case. We don't want YouTubers talking about you guys, if you want to find Sebastian, you should want everybody talking about this case. You should want everybody to get this little man's image out there because he deserves to be found. So if having people that you don't particularly like or care for, if that's your, thing, well, I don't know what to say. We should want everybody, all hands on deck, if we're really serious about finding Sebastian. This includes everybody on social media. Regina says, I'm afraid it's going to be another Summer Wells case. I am too. I'm really concerned. There are some very definite similarities. There's some differences too. But there's some definite similarities. Sweetie Pie says, I feel like Seth was also on Summer Wells. We had CPS, Child Protective Services, was also involved in that case. Right? I feel like Seth was just like just my opinion. In what way? I'm just curious what you guys are talking about. Maybe I missed something. Thank you, Regina. DM says, what does that mean? Yeah, I want to know what that means too. Please um, tell me what you guys are thinking. Welcome to everybody. Come on in. We're so glad you guys are here. We're going to talk about our little man, our favorite little man. We're going to get his picture out there. Olwen says, that's what I thought too, keeping an eye on them. He would sit on anyone's show in order to find his son. So yeah, I think maybe that's how it started. And then maybe when he agreed to be on this other YouTuber's channel, maybe he didn't know this other YouTuber was going to call for Katie to unburden herself while Seth is sitting there. He's like this on the YouTube channel, while this other YouTuber just basically, takes Katie apart. So I don't know if he didn't know this is what was going to be said. Maybe he wasn't familiar with this YouTuber and was just kind of, caught off guard. But that was, if he was going to keep an eye on them, I kind of feel like, and let me know what you guys think. I feel like, that would have been maybe a little bit of oops, this isn't going to work out very well. But I think you're right, Olwen. Rachel says, why are they now wanting to look for him? I think maybe because soon the FBI will be involved. They are already involved. They are already involved in this case, Rachel. They're on it. And so, yeah. And then we had these images of Katie and Chris Proudfoot out shopping for motorcycles. Holy cow, you guys. I mean, this does remind me so much of, I told you guys, they reminded me of Chris and Roberta Laundrie from the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case, where we had people when Gabby was living with Roberta and Chris Laundrie before she and her fiance, I guess you want to say it, Brian Laundrie, went off on this road trip. And she was trying to, make a career as a YouTuber. She was living the van life. And when Brian came back without Gabby's van, with Gabby's cell phone, but no Gabby, they just refused to answer the phone calls from Gabby's frantic and worried parents, and they all went camping. And we would not have known about this camp trip if it wouldn't have been for Dog the Bounty Hunter. And you guys, I want Dog the Bounty Hunter to get involved in this case because he is the one that found out that they had gone camping. And so I think he, helped out a lot with that. Just where, what was going on and what maybe there was some coordination behind the scenes. Hey, Regina, she thinks Katie knows the truth. Thank you for sharing that. Everything that my chat and I are sharing is our opinion. So just know that children with 4 names in Tennessee seems to be not found. No disrespect. Yeah. I don't even know what to say about that. Yeah. Seth came on the Peter Hyatt show. I really wasn't impressed. I thought his behavior was abnormal. I don't know if it was just he was uncomfortable. This was my take on it. I thought maybe he was just uncomfortable because he wasn't maybe familiar with this content creator. Maybe didn't know that this content creator was so tunnel vision focused on Katie. And I have a lot of respect for this other content creator, but maybe he just really didn't know what he was getting into. What do you guys think? Hey, Sonia. So come on in, tell me, bring your comments, bring your questions. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packages plus this video. I hope I can get through everything today because after this, I'm going right into a Brian Kohlberger live stream on the Idaho 4 case. So Cheryl says, Seth is doing his best. He's been sick and so forth. We need not point fingers or anything. I would do anything to find my child. Sergeant says, sorry, Chris Proudfoot. Oh, okay, Chris Proudfoot. Thanks for clarifying that. I just wasn't sure. Regina feels like he's being bullied. Hey, Emma, how you doing? Cheryl says, CJ is a YouTuber. Oh, okay. I'm just not familiar with them. Mama Bear says, all parents' behavior is strange, but then we don't know what we would be like in their situation. Good point. Good point. All right, well, let's dig into this because I do have multiple packages to share. Let me take this down and grab this instead. Okay, so I want to start off with, is it possible that Sebastian ran away? And I just want to go through, I don't want to get like so tunnel vision on one theory that I'm only looking at that. I do want to go through some of the different theories on this case. Oh my gosh. Now I just shared my article. There it is. Okay. So can you guys see that? All right. So within hours, one day in April, 2 children went missing. So this is an older article by ABC News is my sourcing on this. And on the surface, they appeared to have little in common. So they're talking about Angelo Messiano, which was a 16-year-old from Georgia, and Aliva Navarro, who was 3. And they were just 2 of thousands of children, but they shared one trait, and that was that one child who goes missing every day in America is autistic. Now, April is Autism Awareness Month, so I just want to raise awareness about autism. So nearly half, these are staggering statistics, half of all children with autism will run away and potentially go missing at least one time before their 17th birthday. This is according to the study by the American Academy of Pediatrics. So they will run away, and clinicians call it eloping, and many are never seen again. So is it possible that Sebastian could have wandered away, run away, or was he locked out of his house? Now, the numbers alone present a challenge for law enforcement authorities who regularly rank searches for missing children among the most difficult work that they do. But finding children with autism who shirk or shrink when their names are called, who run away at the sound of police sirens, who are afraid of dogs who are being sent out to find them, and who naturally are comforted by burrowing and hiding, make the job even harder. This is according to investigators. So 1 in 50 children is diagnosed each year with autism. It's a spectrum of neurodevelopment disorder. Now, Sebastian was high functioning, but it's marked with problems with social interaction and community. Now, this is according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. And the number of children who are diagnosed increases, and so does the number of kids who run off, leaving rescuers to learn quickly how to best handle a unique set of challenges. So what do you do when you have a child who may be running the other way from dogs who are on the search for them looking? And is this what may have happened in the Sebastian Rogers case? So they're more likely to run away than a child that does not have autism. And when they do run away, they're more likely to meet with a bad outcome. I'm watching my words here. Than unaffected children. And more often than not, 91% of the time, these are the result of drowning. And we've been told by Katie Proudfoot that Sebastian was attracted to water. So, but I just also want to hold out hope for Sebastian, because to researchers and rescuers, the story like Angelo, stories of superhuman rates of survival for young children with developmental disabilities that manage to stay alive, often in the wilderness, are against staggering odds. So I don't think we should lose hope on Sebastian. I don't think we should be saying, this is a done deal. I don't know why Chris and Katie Proudfoot are out shopping for motorcycles instead of looking for him, because we don't know what happened, and children can survive in these wilderness conditions. So listen to this. I just think this gives so much hope to the case. It's a mystery, says Robert G. Lowry Jr. of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Time and time again, we see cases where autistic children live longer and survive in harsher settings than unaffected children. We don't really know why. It might be that these children with autism have a diminished sense of fear, but it's astonishing. So I don't think we should be like just saying, oh, this is done, this is dusted, he's not going to be found. I think we should be holding on to hope. And let me just grab the next thing for you guys, because with that in mind, I want to go back through Nancy Grace's interview. Let me just make sure you guys can
to
see
both
that.
of the Proudfoots. Thank you for being with us. I want to go straight back to when Sebastian goes missing.
Okay.
If I've got the information correct.
All right. Let me check in with chat, and then we're going to go back in and go through this, because I want to, I just think that people that are already saying, it's a lost cause, it's hopeless. No, it's not. Children have survived in the wilderness for this amount of time before, and they have been found safely. So I think this whole thing of let's lose hope, let's just give it up. No, I absolutely refuse. And I think you guys should do the same thing. So anyway, let's dig into this. Thank you so much, Olwen, for the super chat. I will be putting that toward my new computer. I blow through these computers because I do so much editing on them. Betsy says, Seth is exhausted and desperate to find his son. He mentioned Katie was the last one to see him. Why not stay close? Cheryl says, brutally honest to be angry with a man trying to find his child desperately. And Six Cents Amelia says, all civilly respected opinions and theories are welcome. This is one of our head mods. Our other head mod is Jane J. and Jazz. Andrea says, in my opinion, Katie lost her cool and did something, I'm watching my words, to Sebastian, and then had Chris get involved and worked a plan on that 3-hour call. She is guilty in her words and actions. Cheryl is reminding us it's been 56 days. So a lot of people feel a lot of suspicion toward Katie and Chris Proudfoot. And I think, some of their actions justify your suspicions. I don't know why they were out shopping for a motorcycle instead of searching for their son. I don't get it either. I don't understand the choices. I don't understand the context. It just reminds me of Leilani and her mother when Quentin was gone. They all went partying to a restaurant, right? They went to the restaurant. I need a Charlie slip. I'm late for class. You're not late. Come on in, you guys. You're not late. Much love to you, Jamwar. So I just don't think we should give up hope. I think there's a really good chance that Sebastian can still be found alive, but it is really common for kids with autism to run the other way when they hear dogs, and this is what makes it so hard to find them. I want to go through this interview a little bit, and then I have 4 other packages plus the video to share with you guys. So thank you so much, Olwen. That was really nice of you. So Brutally Honest says, wait, what? Shopping now? I don't know what you're asking. I'm not going. Oh, yeah, shop. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Yes, shopping. Yes, they went shopping for motorcycles yesterday. So while everybody is raising awareness and putting stuff together and passing out flyers and searching, they went shopping for motorcycles. And I've had a lot of people ask me, is there insurance money involved? And I would like to know the answer to that. Let me know what you think. Is there insurance money, and are we just planning to spend it already? Because I still think he could be found safely. Jane says, wow, shopping for motorcycles, not worried about their son. It is really weird. Let's see what motorcycle they're going to buy. Yeah. Hey, Cream Puff. Hey, Andrea. Vicky says, I think Seth knew what Peter Hyatt was going to do. He made several podcasts about Chris and Katie so far. Yeah, he did. And he works a lot with law enforcement as a behavioral specialist. Yep, he did. On the Rocks says, desperation makes strange bedfellows. Yeah, great point. Great point. Sherry says, I believe that anyone that keeps his name out there just makes it about finding his son, not fighting and ditching each other. Katie wants to get Dog. Yeah, Dog the Bounty Hunter would be, I know he doesn't do missing persons normally, but he did a great job in the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case. We would not have known about the camping trip with Roberta and Chris Laundrie if it wouldn't have been for Dog the Bounty Hunter. He did a great job. Yeah, I am talking about Peter Hyatt. M says, hope it's a 4-wheeler, at least not a cruise bike. You're welcome. I'm glad you're here. Jamwar says, Occam's razor. Something happened in the home and it's been covered up. If he had wandered off, surely he would have picked up by now. The only other option is someone going into the home, and that is doubtful. Now, let's think about this. Could this be somebody? Now, we know that I've since learned that Sebastian, we knew he had like a freer life when he was with Seth Rogers. I also have learned that Seth Rogers, when he went to work, because he worked overnight at Davidson Prison, works in the prison system. So when he would go to work, Sebastian was left at home alone. Now, Sebastian was 15 years old. He's high functioning. So Did Sebastian have access to the internet, or even if he wasn't supposed to, did he sneak on? I mean, Sebastian was really good at chess. He was probably a good analytical thinker. Did he figure out a way to get on, even if there was, maybe a child barrier in place on Seth's computer? Did Sebastian figure out how to get online to play his favorite video games? And did he interact with anybody in this case, you guys? It is very possible, and this is why law enforcement wants that video footage. I just don't want to get only tunnel vision on one scenario. I want to just keep some options open here. Is it possible that somebody was perusing that neighborhood and made a plan for him to come out, and that he was lured out of the house? The only thing that makes me think that this doesn't make sense is the fact that he went out with no shoes on. And we know from Seth that he did not like to go outside without shoes. He was scared of red fire ants. And it was also cold. So no jacket and no shoes. It was, I think in the 50s that day. So that night. So would you go out without your cell phone, leaving your cell phone behind? Would you go out with bare feet? Would you go out without shoes on? What do you guys think? Susan says, Chris approached Seth with the idea about joining forces and getting along with each other. Seth just agreed with him. Jade says, no, I don't think he ran away. He would call Seth. And Josh says, thank you to everybody for being here. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Sergeant says, did anyone find an interview Aunt Cousins that went to dinner with them? No, we haven't seen hide or hair of any of the people. Like, usually you have neighbors come forward. We haven't seen the Proudfoot neighbors come forward to say what good parents they were, or, that they saw this, or, nothing. Seat, Salt, and Sunrise Sunset says, I hope they had no GoFundMe page. You're talking about Chris and Katie? I don't think they have one. Now, I know Seth has one. Green hearts for Sebastian today, y'all, because green is his favorite color. Sergeant King, no one went to dinner with them per Seth and the private investigator. It was only Katie and Sebastian at the Texas Roadhouse. Really? So the sister was not there? Oh, y'all, we need to dig into this. Okay, I want to give credit where credit's due. This is on Facebook. This is Nancy Grace's interview. I just want to go through this and just look at this again with all of the information, all the new information that we're taking in. Let me know if I don't have it boosted enough and I need to turn it up a little.
That you guys went out, you went to dinner, you went to somewhere, I believe you said BJ's, where he had a, quote, colossal popcorn. Then you came home that night, and around 9 p.m., you tell Sebastian to go to bed. He says, okay, and goes to his room. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That night, I understand from previous statements you've made that you went to bed around midnight. Is that correct?
It is.
And to you, Mr. Proudfoot, Chris Proudfoot, did you also go to bed at midnight, or before or after?
No, ma'am. We went to bed around the same time because we were on the phone together.
And
He was not home.
please excuse any of my questions. I'm simply trying to find out more about that night. Do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
He wasn't actually in the home at all that weekend.
You were not home.
No,
okay.
ma'am.
So where were you, Mr. Proudfoot?
I was in Memphis, Tennessee.
How far away is that?
3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep.
Well, he sure has that time down, Pat, doesn't he? Now, I have told you guys in the past that I think it would be so easy to create an alibi for yourself if you were Chris Proudfoot and you had a spouse. And I'm going to come right back to this interview in just a second. Let me move myself out of the way. But it would be so easy to just simply have your phone, right? And you just open it and turn your TV on, call Katie, leave it by the TV, drive 3 hours and 37 minutes, right, door to door, and be at the Proudfoot house. What do you guys think? Let's listen in to Nancy Grace. This is a really good interview. Now, she's a prosecutor, so she doesn't tend to ask as many open-ended questions. But I also think that Chris and Katie Proudfoot didn't want statement analysts be able to come back in and analyze this interview very well. So they're giving very short, very concise answers. But at least they did come on and talk about Sebastian.
And what were you doing in Memphis?
Working.
Where do you work?
I'm currently working, or was working, at the St. Jude Children's Hospital construction project.
Yes, I'm very familiar with St. Jude's. You said you were working there. Are you no longer working there?
Right now, that's up in the air.
He's not working there. They're shopping for motorcycles. They didn't go to the prayer vigil except to talk to Seth. I don't know, you guys. It's really weird to move out of your house and go camping when you have a missing child. It's a special needs child. What if he came back and knocked on the door? What if he's already come by the house and nobody was there?
Well, you've been gone ever since Sebastian went missing. So I understand. When you are home, do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a 3-bedroom home?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is your room as it relates to Sebastian's room?
It's on the opposite end of the house. The master bedroom's on one side, and the other 2 bedrooms are on the other side of the house.
So if you were home alone, if you were Katie and you were home alone and you heard a thud at 10 p.m. and Chris wasn't there and you didn't have security cameras, would you get up and just check and see what, like, if anything was wrong? Unless you knew what the thud was. Because I wonder if the thud was not the front door closing and Sebastian was exiting out the door, either being lured out there, or if there was some kind of an altercation. And this is why between Katie and Sebastian, and she got Chris Proudfoot on the phone, was Sebastian then, locked out of the house, which has been also theorized. What do you guys think?
Okay, so
Or did he just really not like Chris Proudfoot and just feel like, I don't want to live here anymore?
your master bedroom is on one side of the house and Sebastian's room is on the other side of the house. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you have a 3rd bedroom that I believe you keep for your other daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that Faith? Is your other daughter named Faith?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So where is Faith's bedroom as it relates to Sebastian's bedroom?
It's in the back side of the house. Sebastian's bedroom is
So
on the
it's-
front side of the house.
Now, there was CPS was involved. We're going to get into this in just a second in relation to Faith. And the reason we know this is from Chris Proudfoot's, I don't know if it was his 3rd or 4th or 5th wife, but one of his ex-wives came forward and said that there was an investigation because of the way he was treating her children from her prior marriage. This is what his ex Nina says. And Faith is his child with Nina. So Chris Proudfoot saying that he was concerned about Sebastian with Faith. So why would he be in the master bedroom on one side of the house and leave Faith with Sebastian on the other side? Why not just simply put Sebastian into the master bedroom and they could move over next to Faith because she's littler and needs more? What do you guys think?
Okay. So his bedroom is away from Faith's bedroom and away from your master bedroom. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is Sebastian's room on a top floor or a ground level?
We have a ranch style house. It's a 1.5 story. So everything's flat, and then you have the bonus room above the garage.
Okay. So his is on ground floor, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That morning, was there any sign of a break-in through a window, a front door, a back door, a sliding glass door, anything at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay. No sign of forced entry.
So that thud was not somebody breaking into the window to lure him out. It wasn't. So it makes me wonder, does she know what the thud was? She added it later. Does she know that that thud was at the door slamming shut behind him? And was Chris on the phone saying, you know what, just leave him out there. Just leave him out there. Let him take his lumps. And he's out there with bare feet. Or was he running away and she heard a thump, didn't check? But if I were home alone, I would, and I heard a thud and I didn't know what it was, I would check what it is because, her husband wasn't there.
Anything taken from the home at all?
Not that we could find anything. We couldn't find anything missing.
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a Ring doorbell cam?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have the two of you taken a polygraph?
I have.
I have not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
Now we know that's a lie. We know that's a lie. Let's look at Katie's face while he tells this whopper. Because I can't see anything from Chris that tells me he's lying, but we know it's not true. Law enforcement would probably love for him to take a polygraph. Because how easy would it be to fake an alibi? We know Katie worked for Brink Security. So if they're not working, where are they getting money for motorcycles? Are we expecting some kind of insurance to come through? Life insurance? Do we have
ma'am.
savings?
Do you have a Ring doorbell cam?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have the two of you taken a polygraph?
I have.
I have not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
Absolutely nothing from Katie on that. Just deadpan face.
Understand. Ms. Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
Those questions out of the way. Was Faith in the home when Sebastian went missing?
No.
No, ma'am.
Does anyone else have a key to your home beside your immediate family?
No.
No, ma'am.
And this is why I just feel like this reminds me so much of the Summer Wells case. Just evaporated from inside his own house. That's what we're being asked to believe in this case, that he just evaporated from inside his own house, except for this thud. So was somebody outside? And then I've heard people say, well, if Chris Proudfoot would have come home, his headlights would have been picked up by security cam. Now, Katie sold security stuff, right? That was her job. So how hard would it be just to come down that street and turn your headlights off? Then you're not picked up, right? How hard would it be? I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but wouldn't it just be such an easy thing to just come down the street just as you're getting ready to come by the security cams in your own neighborhood, just to simply shut your lights off so you don't get picked up on anything?
That night, Miss Proudfoot,
You could see
at
Nancy getting
midnight
ready
when you
here.
went to bed, what did you do until midnight?
I had been reading a chapter that I needed to, and I had been talking to my husband on the phone. I was falling asleep on him, so that's when he told me it was around midnight. He told me to go ahead and put the dogs up and go to bed, and that's what I did. I got up, put the dogs where they sleep, and then I myself went to bed.
So I do really wonder what this 3-hour phone call was really about. And we're going to talk more about that in just a second. Let me check in with chat though, because this is social media. I don't want to be unsocial. Debbie says the hesitation before saying Memphis stands out to me. By this point, he said it over and over. Why stumble now? Great question, Debbie. Claudia says the interview was amazing. They didn't even know they were on the stand. No, I agree. Nancy did such a masterful job with this interview. Now, she's a former prosecutor. So I do think that she, and JR Girl says, I heard he was working there nights. working where? Are you talking about Seth or Chris? I don't know who he is. If you could just expand that a little bit about JR Girl, I'll see what I'll answer that. Hey, Sonia. Rocky says, Katie states, Sebastian walked out the door, but with no shoes on. She doesn't leave the possibility that someone came into the house to take him away. In other words, a runaway. Right. Because she says the door, nothing was broken into. The window, we've heard people say maybe the thud was Sebastian going out the window, but she says no, the window wasn't messed with in any way. So he didn't go out the window. So I'm just wondering if that thud got added later to help sell the story of the fact that Sebastian went out the door. And at the time, if she heard the thud, maybe she was on the phone with Chris Proudfoot because she was upset about what was going on between herself and Sebastian. So she called Chris Proudfoot. And of course, we all know that he's ornery. This is my opinion, that he's combative and he seems to enjoy it. Again, this is everything I'm just sharing is my opinion, but he seems to really enjoy being combative. He seems to enjoy being ornery. So was he on the phone egging Katie on, being like, you know what, let him take his lumps, put him outside, or he's saying he's going to run away. Go ahead and let him run away. Let him go outside and just run away. But where are they getting the money for this motorcycle, you guys, that they went out shopping for yesterday? Are they expecting to come in to some insurance money? Because I'm not giving up hope that Sebastian is out there. I still feel like, just looking at the statistics, that he could still be out there. Remember, as I just shared with you, according to the CDC and ABC News, autistic kids, 50% run away, and they're afraid of dogs and they're attracted to water. So it makes it hard for them to be found. Katie said, yeah, so I agree with you, Rocky Go Bouts. Jane says his job is up in the air. That means he's not working. Exactly. So where are they getting money for a motorcycle, y'all? Where's the money for the motorcycle coming from? Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, please do like and share this video, as we're going to raise awareness for Sebastian. And Jess says it was good. Nancy takes no prisoners. Yeah, they didn't know they were on the stand. Sweetie Pie 30 says, I could never leave my home while my child was missing. No, I think that's like massive red flags, right? Your child goes missing and you go camping. That's exactly what Roberta and Chris Laundrie did. Gabby was living with them before she left with Brian on that van life trip. She was living at their house. So he comes home with Gabby's van, Gabby's cell phone, and they all go camping, but not return any of Gabby's parents' frantic phone calls wondering where their daughter is. Yeah, very, very strange behaviors. Leslie says, I don't understand how you can move out of your home when your child is missing. Yeah, I agree. Hey, Karen. Half Pint says, can't be the front door. Katie's on the couch talking to Chris Proudfoot on the phone at the time of the thud. I thought she was in her bedroom. I thought she was in her bedroom reading. Claudia says, love Nancy Grace. She can read them like a book. Yeah, let's dig back into that, y'all, because you guys have some great comments. I want to hear them. If you're not in the top chat, come on into the top chat and join and talk to me about this case. I want to hear your input on this. We're going back. We're taking all of the information we know now, and we're going back and we're revisiting this interview. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 other packages to share with you after this.
Where do they sleep?
They have a big pen.
That's the dogs, y'all.
A pen, is it inside or outside?
Inside.
Inside. That reminds me of another question. Do you guys have a motion sensor light or lights on the outside of your house?
Yes, we do have lights on the outside of our house.
Did they activate that night?
They're not motion censored. We have lights.
Were they on that night?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
Yes, ma'am. We don't typically turn the floodlights on.
So she hears a thud, but she doesn't even turn the. I don't know, you guys. If I'm home alone with my little one, my little person, my little man, and I hear a thud, I'm gonna get up and see what it is, unless I know what the thud is, unless I think it was the front door slamming shut. If I heard a thud, I would get up and check on this. We're going through this Nancy Grace interview. We have a lot of stuff to dig into.
Are there any lights outside the house on at all?
Just my little solar lights that we have in the garden.
There's
Yep.
2 lights on the side of the house above the garage that are on at all times.
Oh yeah, those are on.
Oh, there's a light above the garage. It's on at all times.
There's 2. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So those lights were on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because I heard you say earlier, Mr. Proudfoot, that your neighbors have been very, very forthcoming with their Ring camera info. And I was
Yes,
trying to determine if any lights were on, what, if anything, they may have caught. But I understand from your previous interviews that nothing of any evidentiary value was caught. And also, in another statement you gave, I understand that the video of the 2 flashlights, and I'm saying that with air quotes, that's not exactly what that was at all.
No, that turned out to be completely debunked. So I just don't think it would have been that hard to have your cell phone, to call Katie or take a call from Katie, turn your TV on, put the cell phone up to the TV to keep it on, have Katie on the other line, and drive door to door 3 hours and 37 minutes on this 3-hour phone call, which, and I'm not saying that this is what happened or this is what didn't happen, but I just think look at Nancy's face. I didn't mean to pause it like that. Oh my gosh, I would hate it if somebody did that to me. Okay, let me just move off to a better. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, I would just think it was very, very, very weird. Okay, I can't address it right now, but I will address it. Thanks for that, Amelia. A little bit. Gee, it said, yeah. So I think it's very, very weird. I just don't think it would be that hard. And then if you're coming down the street, I've heard people say, yeah, but if you came back to the house, the cameras would have picked. Well, the cameras are like 30 to 60 feet of how much they can pick up. The doorbell cam's kind of grainy. But so all you'd have to do to avoid them, because the houses are set back so far in that neighborhood, I can't show you the neighborhood, but the houses are set back so far, and that's because they're spaced out. These are $500,000 plus houses, so they're set back off the street. So all you'd have to do to avoid the cameras is turn your lights off, right? Just turn your lights off. So if a abductor or predator was in the neighborhood, all he or she would have to do is turn the lights off on the vehicle. If Chris Proudfoot came back, all he'd have to do is turn the lights off. Katie Proudfoot probably thinks Seth got hurt in the woods somewhere. Yeah, and that's a very, very legitimate possibility. That's why I wanted to talk about the runaway statistics, 50%. So did Sebastian run away? And this ended up just being a horrible outcome. But if he just ran away, y'all, if he just ran away, then wouldn't he have been with shoes on? Wouldn't he have left the house with shoes on? Wouldn't he have left the house with a coat? Wouldn't he have taken his cell phone if he just ran away? What do you guys think? Andrew says, if their next stunt includes a motorcycle trip to Alaska, I'm done. Karen's saying, pray hard. How can anyone, in my opinion? Marcia says, law enforcement needs to turn this case over to the FBI. FBI's in. They're on it. They are on it. Good. You're right, Marcia. And they are on it. I don't think they have lead. I think TBI has lead, but they're on it. Law enforcement is not qualified to handle this case and many others. There are so many unsolved cases. Yeah, we saw this with the Summer Wells case, didn't we? DM says, I don't think I could stay in the house alone. People are crazy. I just don't understand. If you heard a thud and you're home and not there, wouldn't you at least go turn your lights on? Unless you knew what the thud was. And that's where I have, hey, Sirius Black, good to see you. Amelia says, my opinion is 1, Seb was taken in a car from the garage. 2, he was taken in the garbage and the kid was not seen. And 3, he never left the house. All speculation. Yeah, everything we're sharing is just our opinion, guys. So it sounds like you think that he was taken in a car from the garage. He was taken in the trash. And then, wow, Very, very interesting. I just don't think it would be that hard. I've heard people say, no, there's no way that the cams would have picked up the car. No, all you do is turn your lights off and you go down that little street. Can't say, Nancy, say TH for faith. She says faith. Oh, no emotions. Yeah, there's nothing. Deadpan, nothing. Not one thing to say, Sebastian, if you're out there, this, we love you. We want you to come. Nothing.
Well, was on location in Memphis. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there's only one car at the home. Is that right?
There was actually a work vehicle in the driveway at the time as well, but it hasn't moved. We can't give out that information because we don't have permission from her work.
I don't understand that. What?
About the make and model of the vehicle.
I have a work van that was also parked in the driveway.
Why is that? If it's out in the driveway where people can see it, why is that privileged information?
We just don't have permission from her company to divulge that information.
Have you asked?
No, ma'am, we have not. Nobody's asked us
So
that
that
question,
was-
to be honest with you.
So no one asked them the question. That means law enforcement had not asked about the van either, according to Chris Proudfoot, if we believe him. What do you guys think?
Okay. So
if nobody asked about this van that Katie has that she can't divulge because she doesn't have permission for her work, did law enforcement check the van? Did anybody check this van? What do you guys think?
you have a work van. Question to you, Miss Proudfoot, what do you do for a living?
I am an installation technician.
So she's an installation technician. That means she knows, for Brink Security, that means she knows all about security cameras, right? She knows all about it because that's what she sells. That's what she installs. That's her area of expertise. She knows, she in the Navy, she had a lot of training in GPS, so she knows all about how cell phones work. So would it be that hard to just create a nice little alibi for yourself? Turn the lights off as you come down the street. She would know the range of those cameras because she installs them. She sells them.
That night, was the work van blocking your driveway? Could someone go in and out of your driveway?
The van is parked at the back of my driveway, so someone can pull in, yes.
Got it. Do you park your Infiniti SUV in the garage or outside the garage?
In the garage.
In the garage. Do you have an automatic garage door?
With the clicker.
Right. Do you leave that up or down at night?
Down.
I mean, Nancy's trying to find anything that could point to somebody else being involved. I think she's being very thorough. Like, could somebody have pulled into the driveway and taken Sebastian? Do you have lights that would have turned on if somebody approached the house? Floodlights. She doesn't have any of these things. She hears a thud, but she doesn't check. She doesn't check to see what the thud is, even though Chris Proudfoot's out of town at his work, according to him, and she's there alone, and we're watching her with this stone cold face, his stone cold face, no plea. And how far are we into this? We're 14 minutes into this interview, and we still have not heard her say, can I just please say something to Sebastian? Sebastian, if you're listening, I just want you to know that we love you. We care about you. We're here. Oh, no, they're not, because they moved out. They went camping. I don't know, y'all. This is really, really sketchy to me. We're going to continue on with this. Let me just check in with chat. Yeah, I'm going live with Brian Kohlberger right after this. Claudia says, no emotions makes me mad. Yeah, it's very, very stilted, isn't it? Harley, I want to know, I just heard today, and I didn't know about the hot mic where Chris Proudfoot was talking to Seth's mom and said they'll never find Sebastian. What is that about? I have heard that, but I have not been able to find the footage. If you guys know what that footage is, I would so appreciate you guys sharing it with me. Just tell me where it is. You You don't have to share the link if you don't want to, but just tell me where it is so I can go dig and find that, because I've heard the same thing that he told Seth's mom. Now this, that they'll never find Sebastian. How does he know? Why didn't Katie check if there was a thump and you're home alone? I don't know any woman out there. Tell me, if you were home alone, would you check to see what the thud was if you didn't have another adult with you? If you just were there with your special needs little man. 2L82SK8 by says, I think it's a case of keep your friends close and oh yeah, could be. So you think that's why they're tending and befriending Seth now? Sweetie Pie says, what I want to know is why isn't this a criminal investigation? Because they don't have any evidence. They don't have Sebastian. They don't have any blood or any kind of proof of anything that that happened. Now, in my opinion, I think that house should be luminol top to bottom, but they're not going to get a warrant to be able to do that without some kind of evidence, which is why finding Sebastian is so important. Now, I still think Sebastian could still be out there. He still could be okay if he wandered off, and if Katie and Chris just are simply guilty of closing the door behind him. And I say Katie and Chris because he was on the phone with her. So was he egging her on? So if Katie and Chris they're only guilty of just closing the door behind Sebastian, well, that's still bad, because he didn't have his shoes. He didn't have a jacket. He didn't have a cell phone. Katie said he had a flashlight, but no keys. And it almost sounds like Katie saw him walk out the door. And he had his glasses on, you guys. Or someone picked them up. Anyway, I love your comments, you guys. Let's dig into this.
Could anybody lift it up? Like, is there an on and off button outside, or do you have to know a code or have the clicker to open it?
You'd have to know the code or have the clicker.
I mean, Nancy's trying to find any reason why it could be someone else besides Chris and Katie Proudfoot.
Does Sebastian know the code?
Not to the garage door, but to the man doors.
Not to the garage door, but to the house doors?
The regular door, yes.
So is there a code to get in your home, or do you use a regular key?
There's a code.
And he knows that code?
Yes, ma'am.
So he knows the code to get in the house, but I just wonder if there's another inside lock in addition to the code. So once they were all in for the night, did they have like a little deadbolt that they could just click over in addition to the code? But he knows the code to the house, so they left and went camping. Make that make sense, you guys.
Question. I'm just trying to figure out how he would have gotten out, or if somebody came into the home. Could they have gotten through the garage door? No, unless they know the code or had the clicker, which they did not. Do you lock your doors at night?
Yes, ma'am.
Could he have left on his own through those doors?
He could, yes, ma'am.
But I heard in another interview where Mr. Proudfoot said,
Let's watch Katie's face on that question.
just trying to figure out how he would have gotten out, or if somebody came into the home. Could they have gotten through the garage door? No, unless they know the code or had the clicker, which they did not. Do you lock your doors at night?
Yes, ma'am.
Could he have left on his own through those doors?
He could, yes, ma'am.
But I heard in another interview where Mr. Proudfoot said he was not a, quote, wanderer. He didn't wander around. He had never left the home before on his own. Is that right?
Correct. We haven't had issues with him running or taking off in the past.
Okay.
So what happened to him then? So he just vanished out of the house? Let me I'm going to come back to this, but let me just share this. Can you guys see this? Yeah. Okay. So we're asking you for a miracle. We're asking you for a miracle. So Sebastian is 15 years old. He has autism. This is Autism Awareness Month in April. He is believed to have walked off in the middle of the night, according to his mother and stepfather, Chris and Katie Proudfoot. His mother discovered him missing from his room the morning of February 26th. They had a prayer vigil. They've had two now. And friends and neighbors prayed for Sebastian's return wearing green bracelets and ribbons, his favorite color. And we're doing green hearts in the comment section. So please share your green hearts to show your support of Sebastian. And it says there have been little, if any, trace of the teen since he went missing. No viable leads, according to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and the TBI. Volunteers continue to canvass Sumner County outside the initial 5-mile radius. And now they're looking outside that initial 5-mile radius that was covered by law enforcement and passing out flyers, except for Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Where are they? They're shopping for motorcycles. They're camping. He's not at work. She's not at work. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. There are even volunteer dive crews. So we thank you for Sebastian's life, and God, right now we're seeking you. We're asking you for a miracle. This is one man during the prayer group with attendees holding hands. We're asking you to reveal yourself to us, to reveal the truth to us. So Seth Rogers has not given up on his mission to find Sebastian. Earlier this week, he launched an online petition urging the FBI to take the lead, to take over the investigation, because they're not the lead on this right now. They're involved, but they're not the lead on this. And Seth said that too much time has passed for this not to have been investigated as a criminal case. He also hired 2 private detectives who met with law enforcement on the case. The Sumner County Sheriff has continued to say they have not let up working to find Sebastian. So let's go back to this. And then there is just no emotion from either one of these 2 parents. I think Nancy Grace is more emotional than Chris and Katie Proudfoot. I don't know what to think about this. So she dropped her classes. She's not working. He's not working, but they're buying motorcycles. But she's reading a chapter for school. Can you guys hear me okay? Thank you to Emilio for this great job. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know in the comment section. I'm being told I dropped a connection. I just want to make sure. You can hear me, but not the video. Okay. So I lost my connection on the video. That's all right. Let me try refreshing it. So do you guys have audio now? You can hear me, but not the interview. Can you hear me now? Can you hear the interview now? If not, I'll move on because I have 1, 2, 3 other packages. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. All right. So let me go ahead and I have other packages I need to share. Let me share this instead. we'll see if I can get a better connection on that. So I think this is why there's been so much suspicion on Katie Proudfoot. I wanted to look at that interview again because, oh my gosh, there's just like no, thank you. There's audio. I lost it said I got notified, at least I lost my connection. Okay. So I think there's, I just feel like there's no affect at all with Katie. There's just nothing. And Chris Proudfoot, nothing. So Katie believes someone has her son. She thinks and also she's claiming that she and Chris have been cleared of any wrongdoing. Now we know this is not true. Maybe this is what they were told, because law enforcement is legally allowed to lie to us. So it's possible that they could have told her that. But Katie says that said she couldn't understand how Sebastian, who is 15, couldn't have been found yet otherwise. This was after 4 weeks of searching. She said, quote, "I feel like if he had been close to the house or had just walked off, that we would have found him by now, with as many people as have been searching for him." She said this in a podcast on Monday with Nancy. Sebastian's mom and stepdad, Chris Proudfoot, were grilled by Nancy Grace. I think she did a great job. They didn't know they were going to be on the stand, but they really were. Sebastian his name is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He's 15 years old. He's male with brown eyes, sandy blonde hair. He's 5 feet, 5 inches tall, and 120 pounds. And I still have hope that he's out there. As I showed you guys on the last live stream, how wooded it was in that area. So Katie says that she heard a noise coming from Sebastian's room around an hour after he went to bed on February 25th. So this would have been at around 10 p.m. She heard a thud. And she said that she called out to Sebastian, who replied, and she told him to go to sleep. I want to know what he said. What did he say back to Katie at this point? What did he say? How did he respond? And she said that was the last time she heard her son. Heard her son say what? And then Chris Proudfoot's away for work at a construction site. She says she woke up. So where are they getting the money for the motorcycle? How do you buy an expensive motorcycle while both of you guys are unemployed? I don't understand. Why are you shopping for motorcycles when searchers are out looking for your son? So she said she woke up on February 26th. I don't know if I believe this or not. And Sebastian was gone. She called her husband, who then called the police, and a weeks-long search began. So I'm not sure I really buy that. I want to put this little man's picture up. Let me take some questions from chat, and I want to keep his image out there because I do want to try to find him. You can hear me. Okay, good. Sirius Black says, consider becoming a channel member. We have an amazing team. Yeah, if you want to become a channel member, you can just hit the join button. I'm glad. Okay. All right. So just the interview. And that's okay. I'm trying to get that connection back. Treat Squirrel says, and also, why did Chris Proudfoot's parents show up so quickly? She never mentioned calling them. Yeah, and then she had him call Seth. I don't know. Before I called police, I would probably at least check in with Seth to find out if he knew where he was. That would be like my call right before the police or right after the police, but right then. But Katie doesn't call the police. She calls Chris Proudfoot, who's out of town. I don't know. I'd like to have more confirmation than their word on it. Lucy in the Sky says, I find that when Chris lies, that Katie almost looks downward. That's why I want to look at this again, you guys, because you guys are picking up on stuff. That is my alarm to let me know to remind you that I'm going to be going live on the Brian Kohlberger case after this. So when we're done here, we're not done right now, but when we're done, I'm going to log off and I'm going to immediately just go live on that one next. So we're going to talk about the alibi for Brian Kohlberger, but a lot more than just that. I'm going to dig into the Strava app, GPS, a whole bunch of interesting stuff on that. We're going to talk about the alibi. We're going to talk about their expert, Cy Ray, just a whole bunch of stuff. I have a really good show planned. Ada says, did law enforcement ask Katie Proudfoot to show them the clothes that he was wearing whenever they were at the steakhouse? You guys have such good questions. I don't know that's one thing I would want to know if I were law enforcement. I'd want to know, did he have a coat? Was there any other shoes? People have been asking, what size is Chris Proudfoot versus what size was Sebastian? Is it possible he went out with shoes on from Chris Proudfoot? Marcia says, who thinks Chris will leave Katie? I think he's stuck right now. I mean, he's been married. I think Katie's like his fifth wife. He's been married. So I think right now he's tethered to her. Possibly. This is just my opinion. Don't come for me. He's tethered to her. He's tethered to her because he cannot say definitively that if he was on, let me put it this way. Let me put this a different way. If he was on the phone with Katie and Sebastian and her got into an argument and she said, I'm going to call your stepdad. And she calls him up because Seth was at work that night, so she couldn't have called him. And she gets him on the phone and Sebastian's like, I'm going to run away, whatever he's saying. I don't know what he said. And he says, and he goes to leave the house and Chris is on the line and he says, just let him take his lumps. Let him run away. Let him find out. Let him do this. Let him do that. And then he's culpable. If she locked the door behind him, if there was a deadbolt on the inside of that house, or just let him go out the door and didn't stop him. Narcissists have no emotions, right? Claudia says, my theory is Sebastian never made it home from the restaurant. They know where he is. First red flag. Why didn't the mom call 911 first? Yeah, I don't know. Blank stares. Yeah, I think that's why I wanted to go back and revisit the interview, because I think the body language, now that we just know all this other information since we watched it together last time, we've learned so much more about the Proudfoots and the, going camping and this, trip yesterday. This reminds me so much of Leilani Simon. So those of you that don't know that case, there was a toddler, Quentin Simon. He went missing from also inside his own house. And Leilani and her mom were trying to claim that Leilani's ex had taken him. But law enforcement knew he didn't do it because he was living next to a gas station, and that gas station had a camera that showed that he went into his home for the night and that he had never left. So he had a rock solid alibi. But what did Leilani and her mom do? While the searchers are going through the landfill looking for Quentin, they went out and partied. They went out drinking and partying and living it up. No care in the world, just absolutely nothing. But that's the ones that I showed you in the video where we've got them crying, trying to squeeze out a tear. Hey, Cape Cod, True Crime Junkie. They've lied so many times. How many red flags do the Proudfoots have to wave before there's a criminal investigation? I feel like law enforcement dropped the ball and should be calling this investigation. And Josh is asking for no caps in the chat. Karen says, I guess Katie just wants to live this Groundhog Day over and over and over. She would go to law enforcement and tell the whole truth. Yeah, it's really, really weird. I do want to tell you that this does remind me a lot of the Summer Wells case. I covered that case very, very heavily. I have a very big playlist on that. If you guys are interested in learning more about that case, if you're not familiar with the case, you'll want to maybe find out a little bit more about what happened to Summer Wells, because she was also went missing from inside her own house. She was also, the investigation was initially led by law enforcement. She was also last seen by her mother. She also had a father who went on multiple YouTube channels. So many similar, and CPS was also involved in that case as well. So to me, that gives a little bit of a motive. Let me, Tattoo Mama says, she asked if he fell out of bed. He said, no, ma'am. Thank you for that. Allison says, I don't know why he walked out the door, says Katie Proudfoot. Stops me in my thoughts. Jay says, did Sebastian even answer her after the thud? Tattoo Mama seems to think so, but she doesn't say what he says back to her in this interview. So I don't know if he answered her or if she just added that later. And Katie's face is just blank. Yeah, blankety blank, blank, blank. I agree. Thank you for the green hearts for Sebastian, Linda. Also, Chris left for 17 hours, supposedly to go get his fifth wheeler. He could have covered so much land, and Sebastian could be anywhere. Why is no one talking about this? Sea Salt and Sunrise Sunset says, children who feel safe, even HVAC A, children will not run Sunday night before school. Was he upset that an argument came about? Yeah. Great question. Karen says, we try to remember not to pull all the caps. Either someone took him or he's in that house still. Yeah, there's something's wrong. All right, let me share this next one with you guys. The parents, okay. So yeah, I do think it's really, really weird. Allison says, I think it's exactly what happened. Olivia says they both do not search. Now they've joined with Seth. I'm wanting to see that Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot out searching for hours. I'll wait. Yeah, right. We'll all just wait to see if are you going to step up? Because I feel like, Seth he's not perfect. There's no perfect victim in these kind of crimes. There's no perfect parent in these kind of crimes, but I do feel like at least he's out looking. He's hired private investigators. I feel like he's trying at least. The kid would have stood out pretty quickly in general public, not even one sighting by people and none on the CCTV yet. 0 independent sightings since this mysterious thud that night. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think it's weird. And I know people have said, well, if Chris Proudfoot had come down, the cameras would have picked up his lights. Not if you switched your lights off. Just flip the switch. You're not going very far. So I don't know. That's my pushback on that. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm off base. Beetlejuice says they have a video of Sebastian taking the trash out, then turning his bedroom light on, but he never left the house again. Now Seth said he looked at the video of Sebastian taking the trash out, but he could not say for sure that it was Sebastian. It was so grainy. So yeah. Thank you for the thumbs up, Jody. Maria says Chris should have been the one to be called. Red flags, in my opinion. I agree. Jade says it's like the Trezell and Jacqueline West didn't search for the boys. They went shopping. Exactly. Karen says forensic, like, yeah, exactly. Blood or chemicals. We need something like that to open that up. No, ma'am, allegedly. Thanks for that, Marion. Tree Squirrel says it could have been Katie taking the trash and anyone would have turned the light off even by phone. Yeah, it could have been Katie taking the garbage out and not Seth. Wise Gal says Seth said he and Chris Proudfoot were putting their differences aside, but didn't mention Katie Proudfoot in that same sentence. He proceeded to say that the three of them will work together to find Sebastian. Are they teaming up against Katie Proudfoot? I don't know. I feel like Chris Proudfoot's kind of tethered to Katie because he was on the phone when something went down. So I don't know. I feel like if he could, he would throw her under the bus and back over her. That's my opinion on just watching him. Because he doesn't strike me as a loyal kind of guy, and especially after hearing from his ex Nina. Chris is a walking red flag. Cricket Day says it's possible he went out the window and got a piggyback ride with someone. Yeah. Rainy Day says maybe because the dogs would have barked if a stranger had come in. And Allison says, I never heard Chris Proudfoot say about the floodlights that they usually don't turn on. Good point. Wise Gal said they were working together before they went missing, trying to convince Katie Proudfoot allegedly to live with Seth. Wow. Karen says, yes, Chris Proudfoot was attempting to cheat on Katie Proudfoot. I think she found out. Maria says, Chris Proudfoot should have been the last one called. Red flags, in my opinion. And Olivia says, did you all watch the interview they did with Smiley's channel? That was unbelievable. They're acting so different. Nancy is coming for them. Yeah, they didn't know they were going on Nancy Grace. They were going to be taking the stand, but she pretty much did it. Yeah, please like, subscribe. My algorithm tells me that 50% of the people that are watching this channel aren't subscribed. Help a girl out. Support women on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel. I do, I'm not ending right now, but I do want to say thank you to our VIP. Let me grab this for a second. I need to grab this. I need to take this down for a second. Okay. I will put it back up. I do want to thank our producers, Energy Shots, George Brown, and Jazz, and for Amber, and Jane J as our VIP. I want to thank our channel members. If you would like your name to appear just like this in all of my videos and live streams, just hit the join button. It's next to the subscribe button. But if you just subscribe, that's great too. I really appreciate you guys. And thank you to our channel members for keeping this channel going. I really appreciate you guys. And I also want to do super thanks, super sticker appreciation also. We have such an awesome group, and we have a group on Facebook too. If you want to come and be part of a really nice Facebook group, we have a really great group. Just type in Reporter Room and Sebastian Rogers. Thank you so much for your super thanks, your PayPal. This is from the last four weeks or so, and thank you for your gifted memberships. Really appreciate you guys. All right, let's get back to some comments here. Janet, hey Janet, says I live in Savannah where the mother and grandmother were partying at TB Georgia. That you're talking about yeah, you're talking about Leilani and her mom, right? Yeah. Olivia says he's so handsome and his smile is beautiful. Yes, he is. He's a beautiful boy. Our little man. We're doing green hearts for Sebastian, you guys. Cricket says due to the threats by social media and other actual participating in a search would result in people. That's a good point. That's a fair point. It could be something like that where she just doesn't want to get involved in it because she doesn't want to, have somebody, being negative to her or something like that. That's a fair point. I still think you could do something besides shop for motorcycles, though. If you're able to go out in public to shop for motorcycles, it just seems like you could do something. If you have money, hey, thank you so much for the green heart, Cirrus. My 15-year-old wouldn't take out the trash with no lights on. We live in a woods pitch dark too. You just said if my son and I would be searching, etc., every breathing moment, no one would stop me. Yeah, and there wasn't one call out for Sebastian on that. Not one. And I think that's very, very telling, you guys. Let me know what you think about all of this. Well, I'm going to go over and do a Brian Kohlberger stream right now. So please subscribe, and I will see you guys for the next Sebastian Rogers video. I'm going to keep putting his name and face out there. So please and I will